Namaskar, you're watching Express News on DD India. I'm Mark Lynn. First, the national news. US President Donald Trump on Sunday invited Prime Minister Narendra Modi to be part of the Board of Peace that will work towards bringing lasting peace in Gaza. Polish Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Radoslav Sikorski met External Affairs Minister Jaishankar in New Delhi on Monday. During his opening remarks, the EAM said that bilateral relations have progressed over the past few years and would review the action plan of 2024-2028, I beg your pardon. Polish Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister reiterated Poland's support in India's fight against cross-border terrorism. UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan will pay an official visit to India on Monday at the invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. His third visit to India since assuming the office as the UAE President, and it's expected to further deepen the comprehensive strategic partnership. A four-member Indian delegation led by Sanjeev Kumar, who's the Secretary for Defence Production, is visiting Kenya, and this is to enhance bilateral defence manufacturing capabilities. The visit aims to promote India's defence exports and foster industrial cooperation. January 19 marks the 21st Raising Day of the National Disaster Response Force, India's frontline warriors in times of crisis and also natural disasters. On this day, the NDRF completes 20 years of dedicated service. Sharing pictures of the NDRF personnel engaged in relief and management work, Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended gratitude and appreciation to the National Disaster Response Force on its Raising Day. Prime Minister Modi also underscored their efforts to protect lives, to provide relief and restore hope, and he described their skills and sense of duty as the epitome of the highest standard of service. India's Home Minister Amit Shah on Monday also praised the National Disaster Response Force, saying that it has become the pillar of trust the nation relies on during calamities. The Union Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan addressed a press conference in New Delhi on the Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika Mission, Grameen Bill. Now, the minister noted that measures taken to strengthen rural employment as well as to improve the effectiveness of the bill. Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid homage to Parbati Giri on her birth anniversary on Monday. Now, the Prime Minister commended her role in the movement for the end of colonial rule, a passion for community service as well, and the work in sectors like healthcare, women's empowerment and culture. The Election Commission of India will host the India International Conference on Democracy and Election Management 2026 from Wednesday in New Delhi. The three-day conference is poised to be the largest global conference of its kind hosted by India in the field of democracy and election management. Union Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change Bhupendra Yadav chaired the 88th meeting of the Standing Committee of the National Board for Wildlife in New Delhi on Monday. The nomination process for the post of the BJP president, the national president that is in the process at the party headquarters in New Delhi. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, the Home Minister Amit Shah, the union ministers JP Nadda, Nitin Gadkari and other senior leaders were present, all past presidents, mind you. On Monday, at least 8 soldiers were injured in Jammu and Kashmir's Kishtwar district, where an encounter broke out between security forces and terrorists on Sunday. The Indian equity indices ended on a negative note, with the Nifty below 25,600 points on Monday. The Nifty was down 108.85 points at 25,585.50. The Sensex was down 324 points at 83,246.18. The Indian rupee ended marginally lower at 90.91 per dollar on Monday. Gold futures maturing on the 5th of February were priced at 1,45,113 rupees per 10 grams. This is the multi-commodity exchange. Silver futures for the 5th of March maturity stood at 3,02,780 rupees per kilogram. This is also on the multi-commodity exchange. Brent crude oil. The futures, it fell below $64 per barrel on Monday, priced at $63.29 US per barrel. Tokyo Electric Power will delay the restart of its Kashiwazaki Kariwa nuclear plant, originally scheduled for January 20, citing safety preparations and ongoing drills. The IMF has raised 2026 global growth forecast to 3.3%, citing AI and tech investment, but warns of trade uncertainties, market corrections, as also uneven recovery across regions. The Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi announced a 2-year freeze on the 8% food sales tax to ease household costs, promising broader economic as well as fiscal reforms. China reported December retail sales rose just 0.9%, the slowest pace since the pandemic, while industrial output grew 5.2%. Let's get you the international news now. And in response to the US President Donald Trump's tariff threats over Greenland, European leaders will convene an extraordinary summit in Brussels on Thursday to discuss the bloc's response to the US. The EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and other members said on Sunday that the EU and Britain stand firm in their commitment to uphold the sovereignty of Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark. The UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Monday called the use of tariffs against allies as completely wrong, and he said that any decision about the future status of Greenland belongs to the people of Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark alone. Netherlands Foreign Affairs Minister David van Wiel said that the use of trade tariffs in this way is inappropriate and moreover unnecessary. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney said that the future of Greenland should be decided by Greenland and Denmark. Trump has said that Denmark has not been able to do anything to get the Russian threat away from Greenland and said that now it is time and it will be done. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents continued their raids in St. Paul area of Minnesota in the United States. Increasingly tense confrontations between residents and federal officers have erupted in Minneapolis since Rene Good was fatally shot by an ICE officer on January 7. In another incident, protesters, including postal workers, rallied outside a Minneapolis post office, calling on the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement to stop using postal property for its operations. The Pentagon has ordered about 1,500 active duty soldiers in Alaska to prepare for a possible deployment in Minnesota. The Syrian President Ahmed al-Shahara on Sunday announced that the Syrian government and the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces agreed on an immediate and comprehensive ceasefire on all fronts on Sunday. Still with international news, under the agreement, Syrian authorities will take other civilian institutions, border crossings, and oil and gas fields that have underpinned Kurdish self-rule. The Syrian Kurdish leader Mazloum Abadi, in a televised address, said that he agreed to the deal to avoid a broader conflict and also said that he is all set to meet Shahara in Damascus on Monday. The U.S. envoy Tom Baeruk on Sunday called the ceasefire agreed by the Syrian government and the Syrian Democratic Forces as a pivotal inflection point. The South Korean President Lee Jae-myung and the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni agreed on Monday to expand cooperation in sectors such as artificial intelligence, aerospace, chips, and critical minerals. The two leaders also agreed to intensify joint efforts to develop a resilient and reliable critical mineral supply chains. The World Economic Forum Annual Meeting 2026 is set to begin in Davos on Monday. The 5-day summit will run until January 23 under the theme A Spirit of Dialogue, with a focus on cooperation in a contested world, innovation-led growth, and inclusive development. More than 5,000 armed forces personnel, snipers, AI-powered drones and special tools to counter spyware and espionage are placed. Demonstrations are part of the summit. This time the Swiss government also is willing to authorize these demonstrations, but it is essential that the requirements to protect people, infrastructure and property are respected. Indian ministers Prahlad Joshi, K. Ram Mohan Naidu and Maharashtra's Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis arrived in Zurich. This is in Switzerland to represent India at the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos. Ukraine's top negotiator Rustem Umerov said on Sunday that the talks with the US officials on the resolution of the nearly 4-year-old conflict with Russia would continue at the World Economic Forum in the Swiss resort of Davos. Ukrainian President Zelensky, in an evening address on Sunday, said that the negotiations with the US side would continue next week, with work underway on documents needed to end the conflict. Rescue workers continue their operations on Monday after a collision between two high-speed trains carrying hundreds of passengers in southern Spain killed at least 39 people and injured more than 152 on Sunday night. Over 200 trains between Madrid as well as the South Andalusia region, they have been cancelled. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez expressed deep sorrow and offered sincerest condolences. The Prime Minister also visited the site of the collision later on Monday. Guatemala's president has declared a 30-day state of siege to combat gang attacks that killed several police officers. Ugandan authorities partially restored internet services after the state-run Uganda Communications Commission ordered a shutdown following President Yoweri Museveni's election victory. In Portugal, the socialist candidate Antonio José Seguro won the first round of the presidential election as per the early partial results. Ventura and Seguro will face off on February 8 to decide who succeeds the conservative incumbent Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa. Let's take a short break. You're watching DD India. This is the Express News. Welcome back. You're watching Express News on DD India. Now news from the weather front. A thick layer of fog blanketed India's capital, Delhi, on Monday, sharply reducing visibility across the capital and surrounding NCR areas. Srinagar woke up to a milder minus 1.2 degrees Celsius on Monday. Wet weather, including rain and snow in higher reaches, is expected over the coming week as the valley continues its harsh Chilai-Kalan period. A landslide struck southern Argentina as part of Mount Hermite in Chubut province. It collapsed, destroying homes as well as damaging roads, prompting evacuations there. Air quality in Nepal's Kathmandu Valley has worsened this winter, reaching very unhealthy levels during mornings and evenings as smog traps pollutants in the basin. Now, over 1,000 brick kilns, heavy traffic and open waste burning are contributing to the respiratory cases there. South Africa's National Disaster Management Centre declared a national disaster as heavy rains and flooding continue to hit northern regions. Flooding has killed at least 20 people, damaged over 2,600 homes, forced partial closure of the Kruger National Park, and also prompted rescue operations with helicopters deployed by the National Defence Force. At least 16 people have died in forest fires that swept through Chile's Bio and Nuble regions over the weekend. The fires in Chile have caused extensive damage to homes, to buildings, to forests. Authorities there say that the evacuations are continuing and assessments of the fire spreading across different areas is being taken. Heavy snowfall in Syria's northwestern Idlib province has worsened conditions for displaced people, with some areas in fact seeing higher snow accumulation than in the previous years. Persistent snow, freezing temperatures, fuel shortages, they are making survival difficult for families in refugee camps in Idlib, where tents serve as the only shelter amid the harsh winter weather. The 53rd New Delhi Book Fair, or World Book Fair, concluded on Sunday at the Bharat Mandapam, drawing over 2 million visitors. Free entry and a focus on young authors, children books and regional language publications were the highlights. Uttar Pradesh's Saharanpur is gearing up for Basant Pashmi. This is with colorful kites filling the skies. Authorities have banned dangerous Chinese kite thread, installed safety wires, and the police are on alert as the demand for kites has risen ahead of this festival. Jammu and Kashmir's Tourism Department has launched ski courses at Sonmarg to train local youth and to boost winter sports. Light music and band performances wowed devotees on day 4 of the Mahakal festival in Ujjain. A large number of visitors gathered to enjoy the cultural performances, adding to the spiritual and festive atmosphere of the ongoing celebrations. Traditional horse races thrilled spectators in Kutch's Vekaria Run in Gujarat. Now, riders and indigenous breeds also competed in 6 races, judged on grooming, gait, as well as stamina, with the winners taking cash and motorcycles. Vietnam's Moc Chau Plateau has entered peak flower season as plum, peach, as well as mustard blossoms cover the landscape, coinciding with the launch of the 2026 tourism year under the campaign Mau Cha, Promise of Blooming Season. The campaign aims to boost tourism, attract international visitors, and promote sustainable community-based development, strengthening Moc Chau's position as a leading nature-based destination. Wedding vendors in China's Hukui bridal city, they say that business is picking up and more couples are planning weddings. The bridal gowns are now priced between 1,000 and 4,000 yuan, and they're drawing steady interest. Bolivia's La Paz launched 40 days of carnival with the traditional Desentierro del Pepino ceremony, as a mock funeral procession marked the rebirth of the city's iconic mischievous character. Beauty queens revived the Pepino with kisses in the Desentierro del Pepino ceremony, in fact bringing it back to life and kicking off the 2026 carnival season as crowds cheered and folkloric groups also danced in La Paz. Now, with the 11th consecutive year, Morocco is participating in Berlin's International Green Week 2026, one of the world's leading exhibitions for agriculture, food and horticulture, running until January 25. Morocco's participation in the Green Week event reflects the kingdom's strategy to strengthen its position within global global agricultural as well as food value chains, according to the official statement. Orthodox faithful across Russia took part in the Epiphany celebrations on Sunday evening, dipping into icy waters to commemorate the baptism of Jesus Christ in the Jordan River. Despite harsh winter temperatures in Siberia's Omsk region at around minus 20 degrees centigrade, participants said the icy water offered a brief feeling of warmth and purity during the religious ceremony. Hungary's Lake Balaton froze enough for safe skating near the southern shore on Sunday, with ice thickness reaching 12 to 15 centimeters after days of sub-freezing temperatures. Aditya Dhar's spy thriller Dhurandhar continues at the box office, crossing 875 crore rupees domestically and 1,333 crore rupees globally. The OTT release date for the Hindi film Tere Ishq Mein is out. The film is going to stream from Friday, January 23. Hollywood film Avatar: Fire and Ash continues its dominant box office performance, remaining number one in the US in its fifth weekend and crossing the USD 1.3 billion mark globally. Oscar and Tony-nominated director Roger Allers, best known for the 1994 The Lion King, died at the age of 76 in California. BAFTA will honor Claire Binns, creative director of Picture House Cinemas, for her outstanding contribution to UK cinema. She will receive the Outstanding British Contribution to Cinema Award at the 2026 EE BAFTA Film Awards. The Game of Thrones spin-off, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, premiered on Sunday, with the first episode based on George R.R. Martin's Tales of Dunk and Egg novellas. The first teaser for Taylor Sheridan's new series, The Madison, was unveiled on Sunday, featuring Michelle Pfeiffer in grief and Will Arnett as her therapist. American country music icon Dolly Parton turned 80 on Monday, celebrating a legendary career in singing, acting, and theatre, and continues to tour and work on new projects. American band Green Day will perform at the Super Bowl opening ceremony on February 8 in Santa Clara, celebrating 60 years of the NFL championship. The Rookies delivered an explosive final performance with the song Temple as the debut lineup of All-Round Rookies Season 1 was finalized, with 7 members forming the group Uprise. The sports news now, and Daniil Medvedev opened his Australian Open campaign with a straight sets win over Jasper De Jong. Alex de Minaur thrilled home fans with a dominant win over Mackenzie McDonald, while Andrei Rublev eased past Matteo Arnaldi. Felix Auger-Aliassime retired from his first-round clash against Nuno Borges, and this is after cramps, ending his Australian Open run despite winning the opening set. Tough there dealing with the heat. Coco Gauff overcame serving struggles to beat Kamila Rakimova, advancing to the Australian Open second round, where she will face Olga Danilovic. Amanda Anisimova dominated Simona Waltert in her opening, breaking early in both sets and then sealing victory with an ace to begin her bid for a third straight Grand Slam final. Assam hosted the Taekwondo Talent Camp led by Olympic champion Jade Jones, training 84 athletes and 22 coaches to boost India's Los Angeles 2028 Olympic combat sports vision. Real Sociedad stunned Barcelona 2-1 in the La Liga, ending their 11-match winning streak. Despite the setback, Barcelona remain on top of the La Liga table. Senegal claimed their second Africa Cup of Nations title with a dramatic 1-0 win over hosts Morocco in Rabat. In the Tata Steel Masters Chess Tournament, after settling for a draw in round 2, India's number 1 player Arjun Erigaisi is in the joint lead with 1.5 points. The defending champion R. Pragnananda, also from India, lost his second game in a row, this time to Nodirbek Abdusattorov, and D. Kikesh, who's the world champion, was held to a draw by Jordan van Foreest. The fourth Indian in the fray, Arvind Chidambaram, played out a draw with Yagiskan Erdoğan of Turkey. Vidarbha scripted history in Bengaluru, defeating Saurashtra by 38 runs to clinch their maiden Vijay Hazare Trophy. New Zealand scripted history and won their maiden one-day series in India following their 41-run victory in the third and final match in Indore. In the Women's Premier League, table toppers Royal Challengers Bengaluru will take on Gujarat Giants in Vadodara. South Africa's Ansi Young clinched a second consecutive India Open title, defeating China's Wang Zhiyil in straight games. Well, that's all we have in Express News. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.